All right, lights, camera, action. Let's do this. Good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, whether you are here with me now, whether you're catching the recording later on. I appreciate you taking the time to come hang out with me here and talk about one of my favorite art forms, wire-wrapped jewelry. So this is the piece that we started last Wednesday. We were on here for a little over an hour. I got a little bit sidetracked and a little overwhelmed, but I think I have the comment thing figured out now so that it should show up on the replay as well. So if you are not watching this live, hopefully the comments that come in will be on your screen so it doesn't just come off kind of weird and confusing. But either way, this is where we left off last time. We put together the frame for this piece and all of the structure thus far. Excuse me. Hi, Sophie. I'm excited to be back as well. This is the stone that we originally selected for this piece. Now this is a small labradorite cab. Hello, cheers, thanks for joining, guys. And I'm going to admit something to you right now, that this is going to be lesson number 1. Sometimes things don't go as planned, and I was looking at this piece and kind of brainstorming my next steps so that I could kind of come in a little bit more put together, a little less chaotic, and get things completed in a timely manner. And I realized I hate this stone choice for the frame that we have built. So I'm gonna call an audible on myself, and I think I'm going to switch out the stone. I don't think that this is a bad stone choice. I just think that for what we have already built, it's too small, and it will take a mighty amount of work to fill out all of that space. So I've pulled aside a couple things to illustrate this as a teaching point, that, you know, sometimes things don't go according to plan. So I've got a couple different stone options here, just to show you what it could look like with various stones. One of them is this small pink tourmaline. I'm a big tourmaline fan. I buy these. I have like a bucket of them all in this size that are just, you know, kind of small, not necessarily something I would use as a centerpiece for something larger, but with a little bit of adjusting, it might be like the perfect stone for a piece like this, where, you know, it was sitting in a bucket, wasn't really a stone that I thought about very much, but seeing it kind of tucked in here, this could be really great, you know, and this could begin to fill out that composition a little bit nicer and fit a little bit more comfortably in the frame that we've built than the labradorite that we originally chose. Hello, Wendy, Felicia, Heather, and Chelsea. Thanks for joining. I hope all is well your way. Another option, so this is a little fire opal from Mexico. This is just kind of an oval-shaped cab. I didn't measure these. I should have done that. It's not too late. Hold that thought. Hello, Deb. Happy to see you as well. Let's see, it is about 12 by 9-ish. 12 by 9-ish. 12-ish by 9-ish. That will be my professional exact measurements there. And it's, you know, this one fits a little bit funkier. You know, it doesn't quite fit down in between these two coils here, but it is close enough that it is something that I think that we could adjust our frame for and begin to fit the stone into place. What else did I have? I have these little tourmaline slices. I pulled them out, but it's too small. So it doesn't quite fit in that section. If I drop it on top, maybe it'll look cool. Yeah, okay. Well, see, there you go. Something like that would also fit very comfortably in this frame that we have set up thus far. So we're just starting off by saying, I don't like what I've done, and I want to let you know that if it's happening to you as well, just be aware that you are not the only one. The last stone that I have is this amylite. These are really cool. It's not super vibrant. It's got like a cool it looks like a leaf to me. It's green and blue, but it doesn't show up super well on camera. But this is another larger teardrop shape that, unfortunately, was the only cabbed teardrop I had that would fit close to the original shape and size, or excuse me, shape that we had going for this section. So that is an option as well. I'm kind of leaning towards seeing if maybe this one would be the one. Might be kind of cool. It might be also too easy if this just pops into place. Over a year? It's time to get back into it. This would be of course something that would happen to me for a live stream where it's just kind of like not going according to plan. Sometimes that happens. We'll make the best of it. Thank you, Heather. I'm really excited to hear that. I do really enjoy having the opportunity to teach. It is something that is probably one of my proudest artistic achievements, if you will. Is just, you know, being able to do this, and I really enjoy it. It's almost more fun to me to do than to just make them on my own. So for wire wrapping, I'd say it probably is more fun for me to teach than it is to do. Not that I don't enjoy it, I just really enjoy teaching. So thank you for being here. I hope that my videos continue to be helpful. Ooh. Let's see. Should I leave this up to like audience participation? You guys want to call which stone I do? I don't know if that's a fun activity or just really obnoxious. I kind of like that one. Maybe. Maybe more streams. We'll see. I think next week I will have a regular tutorial of some sort put up. It won't be a live stream, just so I can continue to produce some videos. But I don't think I will be. I won't be live streaming again next week. We have one vote for the tourmaline, one for the fire opal. It looks like we're getting into voting here. Austin is also on board for the tourmaline. I kind of like it. It's kind of cool. I mean, I've got more stones we can look through, but I don't want to waste too much time. I do kind of like that. I think this one might be my personal choice here. We got a bunch of tourmaline votes, so we're gonna go with it. So, just to recap real quick, this was our original stone. It is a little too small, and our frame would take a lot more wire in order to fill out the space to actually secure this well into the piece. And I think that it would begin, in order for this to work for me, I would want to add more accent stones so it didn't feel like a small stone was buried in so much wire. Like the ratio of stone to wire would be off, which is fine. I don't mind adding a bunch of accent stones to things, but in this case specifically, I'm trying to keep it, concise. Make it a followable video in case you are trying to build them one of your own at home. So I'll measure this for you, for any of you who are looking through your collection here. It is 11.25 millimeters long. Probably what, like 7? Nope. Probably about 6 millimeters wide. So 11 by 6. I like the way that it sits here. One of the things that I'm always looking for with, natural crystals like this is that there's, it's got some of the matrix, something that it grew in, maybe some imperfections in the crystal, whatever that is, that may not be quite as desirable to be on the front of the piece. That's something that I try to align in a way to minimize its impact on the overall beauty of the piece. So I think for me this is an easy decision. I can tuck it so that that is actually at the back. Doesn't really affect the way that it looks from the front. We're good to go. Dana, I'm glad that you were able to make it today as well. Thanks for taking some time out of your day. I'm just tinkering with this real quick to see if I like a way for it to align a little better. a little bit more space here. Alright, let's do it. Tourmaline it is. I like that. That looks nice. Let's do it. Okay, let's cut some wires here. Those are 18s. I didn't say this because I started off on a tangent, but if you have questions, comments, concerns, at any point, feel free to interrupt me. This is as much your time as it is mine. I've made, probably not an overstatement to say, hundreds of these, so I don't mind being interrupted. Please feel free. Oh, I do love garnets. I got a lot of garnets. It's too late. If I start getting on a garnet tangent, we'll be here forever. So we're gonna go ahead and use this first wire being 16 inches. Excuse me, that's a lot. 6 inches, 16 gauge half round in dead soft. All right, to start our wire, I'm going to start in the center, and I'm going to use my flat pliers. I've talked about these a lot. Actually, we talked about these in a recent video where I was talking about my top 10 tools that everybody should have. Hello, Robin. I'm glad you were able to make it. If you don't have a pair of these are awesome. It doesn't have to be this brand, but whatever they are, just a pair of parallel pliers that have a good enough grip where it doesn't actually mar the surface of your wire, but you can really get some nice curves with them. So I'm keeping the rounded side of my 16 gauge wire facing towards me, and I'm able to keep the round side facing up the whole time as I create a full circle in that wire. It's nice and flat with half round, and to a certain extent with square, but half round is particularly egregious with this. The wire is going to want to bend in the the way of least resistance, and the most resistance possible is keeping either that flat side or that rounded side facing towards you. So having a pair of pliers like those flat parallel pliers that has an even pressure on both sides makes it very, very easy to bend it properly into place. I do not do any lapidary work, so I do not cut my own stones. I don't have that sort of equipment. Maybe one day. It's something I would like to do. I just there's a lot of tools out there. Hello, Alleluia and Murd and Minotaur Studios. Cheers! Thanks for joining us. So these are my these are Swanstrom. I think that these pliers from them are like $45–50. You don't have to have the, you can probably get a pair of parallel pliers for like $20. It doesn't necessarily have to be these ones. One day I'll have an official sponsorship from them, and then I'll tell you, use this code for a discount or something like that, but I don't have that, so buy them if you want them. I will sit here and spend the next hour singing the praises of these tools. I really do love them. I use them for all of my pliers. Anytime a pair of pliers that I do use breaks or wears out, that is usually the brand that I start to upgrade to. So if you want a personal experience, I am very pleased with them. Yeah, I mean, that's making jewelry for you, and that is kind of part of what I love about wire wrapping, is that it is very financially user friendly or beginner friendly. You can get a $5 pair of pliers and some craft wire or some copper, and you can get right to work. You don't need a ton of equipment. You don't really even need a ton of like tools other than, you know, pliers, cutters, and wire, and something to set it. If I mean, you don't even need stones, I guess. So we have our 16 gauge formed. I got to make some progress. I'll start getting on a rabbit trail. We're gonna slide that underneath where our 14 gauge wire here comes straight through to the back. And if I can get this to work properly, I'm gonna pass one ending straight through the center of my 14 gauge spiral here. So I'm letting it kind of bend out of place so that as little kink in this wire as possible as we go. Oh, awesome. Well, hey, that is super cool, Heather. Please don't feel bad about distractions. To me, it's probably the coolest part about doing any live stream stuff, is that, you know, we get to kind of chat. You know, I get to talk about something I really love, and I hopefully get to be more directly helpful than just a video format. I'd like to think that my videos are as helpful as I can make them, but I think that there are some things that are easier to address in a person to screen or person to person ideally format that aren't necessarily as doable in a you know, like a tutorial video format. So please feel free anytime. You got questions, you got comments, you got, I don't know, topics of conversation you want to broach, just shout them out. So I've got this wire so that it sits around the base of my 14 gauge here and down into the center of that spiral. It's coming straight off the back and out to the opposite side. Deb knows. I used to do live streams on Facebook, honestly, from 2020 through probably the end of 2021. We did them every week. And I'd like to get back into the swing of things. I don't know what the schedule looks like. I got to balance everything, you know. I have to... Behind me is where I make other jewelry, and I've got deadlines to meet for that as well. I would like to have more live streams in my regular schedule, though. So it's definitely something. I don't have a date set for you yet. Wednesdays, I think, are a pretty cool day to do this. Next Wednesday, I cannot. So it won't be next Wednesday, but I'll put a post up on my little YouTube page here and let you know when it will be for the next one. You can go back and watch the beginning of this as well if you'd like. The video is posted. I was told that I didn't do something right and that the comments on that video don't show up. I hope I did it right this time. I don't know. I'm not very good at that sort of thing. So maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But if it doesn't and you're just watching me ramble to an empty screen, thanks for doing that. That's super cool of you. It definitely made my experience then a little bit better too, Deb. So thank you for being a part of that. Hallelujah. Yeah, that's kind of the... To me, that's really... I mean, even just reading through questions that are asked, you know, in the comments, like some of them are challenging to me to try to find a way to answer in a edited, you know, 5 to 10 minute video format when it's an idea that is kind of cumulative, like it takes several steps to the answer instead of just like, this is the answer. And I think that at least for the style of wire wrapping that I work with, a lot of things are like that, where it's not like a formulaic approach. There isn't like a step-by-step, this is how it is done. It's kind of like you add this layer, then you add the next layer, and then you add the next layer. And none of them necessarily look exactly the same, but, you know, makes it challenging to try to make a video on that breaks it down into a formulaic, understandable setting. So I've passed this 16 gauge underneath my bail section here. I am going to use this to hold all of my bail wires together. it also kind of creates a cool bit of motion between this spiraling part here and our bail section here, where it's kind of crossing underneath and following where our ending wires are here as well. I like that. I think that looks pretty cool. Let's tighten it up on the other side here. I think we're going to bring this all the way through in our center section of the frame here, straight back through to the front. And we can actually use this ending to begin securing our stone down into place. Yeah, it's definitely a lot more cumulative is the best word that I've got. I don't know if any of you have a better word, shout it out, but it's definitely it's not quite as easily broken down step by step in a manner that is like super easy to understand. I do my best, and I do make start to finish tutorials that do break it down as best I can step by step. But even with something like that, like that's me showing you exactly how I did it, but it's not explaining how, like, why the things that I did are important. Whereas a live streamed format, I can show you exactly what I'm doing, and I can explain, in more in depth, theoretically. In this case, I'm just rambling. Why each motion it makes sense for the composition I'm trying to put together. For example, and I see your comment, Heather. I'll get right to it. For example, at this point, we do have our 16 gauge. Spiral section down here set up. It's pretty nice. Comes around the back, out the outside edge, and back through to the front. At this point, I'm not going to secure this wire yet. I am going to add at least one wire to wrap around the base of that to begin building another sort of spiral section like this. So we'll really have, to me, what feels like it's kind of like a cresting wave, where if this is really where it splashes up over the top of a rock as it hits it, like the image that's coming to my mind is the scene in the Little Mermaid cartoon from when I was a kid where she's singing and then splashes up on the rock. We've got this roiling wave that's building from the left in a counterclockwise direction, and it's all building it up and then explodes over the top of the pail. That's how I'm thinking about it. Maybe that's a little bit dramatic, but you'll have to forgive me. So Heather's question, do I ever heat the wires to make it easier to bend? There we go. Sorry, it disconnected there for a second. For the most part, I find I'm able to manipulate the wires that I use pretty well. If you are having that trouble, the solution to your problem may be something like those parallel pliers where you can get a better grip than something that is pinching on an axle. Where, I even have these are junk because I keep breaking the tip on them, but these are nylon tipped so that they don't scratch any wire. I really don't, whatever these specific ones were, I really wouldn't recommend because they are terrible. They don't do a very good job of holding wire. I never use them anymore. But the idea is great, where, it does have that parallel plier or parallel closing action that may help you to bend some of these wires that are a little thicker. I know that some folks have a bit more of an issue with something like 14 gauge, which I do use a lot of in my pieces. It may be helpful. Shirley, I know I missed a bunch of comments. Let me take a second to hold this still, and I'll answer some questions here. Shirley's question: I'm not having much luck finding the website for these tools. Does anyone know the link? There is a video that I posted within the last 1 or 2 videos, maybe 3 videos, that was about the top 10 tools every wire wrapper should have. All of the links to the exact tool that I use are posted in the description section of that video. Otherwise, riogrande.com is a great resource. They do have all of the Swanstrom tools. They do have them on there as well. Okay, hang on. Excelsius, thank you. Putting the heat on it with my fingies. Alleluia asked, I've always wondered about the back of your pieces. Do you spend extra time wrapping the backs, or do you find another way to make it feel like a finished gallery? Someday I need to get some of those, I don't know, STF. I am a wire whisperer. I'll whisper into this microphone. Unsolicited ASMR. Sure, so let's take a second here. This is the back of a piece that is kind of similar in style. This is actually the one that was like the little picture that I put up, that if you clicked on the link before I was live, this is what the piece that you were looking at. Same sort of style. The backs of wire-wrapped pieces are a topic that everybody has a different opinion on. For me, I don't spend extra time. I try to, as I'm working on the front, be mindful of how much mess it is at the back. So if it's something that is a giant rat's nest at the back of the piece, I'm doing it wrong in my own head. It should be able to come together in a way where everything kind of is joined, and I'll start an ASMR channel. 1,000 likes on this video and I'll start an ASMR channel. Perfect segue to say the YouTube spiel. If you like this video, you like to see more content like it, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. I post new videos sometimes. I'm trying to get better about it. Attaching everything to the sides of the stone, making sure that as much of the back of the stone is open as possible, really does help kind of keep things neat. In this case, there's some things that I probably would do a little bit differently. For pieces like this where I did it on camera as I was filming a tutorial for it, it does sometimes things slip past me. Like, I don't think the Bob Ross, thank you. I don't think I pulled this wire quite tight enough. It kind of sticks out off the back a little bit. If I was to go back, I probably would tighten that up a little bit. Things like that are a little tricky to take notice of as I'm trying to like look down the camera as I'm doing it. So there is some ways that I think that it could be better, but that I don't spend more time on the back unless it's something like this. So this is a huge rabbit trail. Thanks for being here. This is a double-sided piece that we're working together on Patreon. If you like this and you want it to be more concise, the link for my Patreon is here, patreon.com/raftark. I do live streams like this every Monday. This is the project that we're working on Patreon now. This is a double-sided piece, so I am putting equal work into both sides of the piece, or of the project, as we go. Still got a long ways to go. I mean, we're adding some little gold accents. It's definitely been a fun project to tinker on, and it does have a huge garnet, which makes me happy. But I'm really excited about this piece. We've been working on this for a couple sessions now. It's starting to come together. It actually looks... Don't be sorry, I told you, rabbit trails are awesome. It's starting to look like something I could show off. So here it is. If you want to see the whole process of this, it is available on Patreon. And that is something that I do every Monday. End of thought. I know I missed a couple other things. So let me backtrack here. Deb, yes, the screw does fall out of my parallel pliers. I fixed it by just banging my head into the wall as hard as I could, and then it magically stopped. I'm kidding. It still does that, and it drives me nuts, but I still love the pliers. I know that I want some parallel pliers. I've used to annealing one with 12 gauge thicker in some of my work. Yes. So, I mean, if you're working with something like 8 gauge, I'd probably anneal it. You could buy it dead soft, but you could anneal it softer than it comes. Zandy asks, do I have a process when planning how the flow of your piece will look? That's a great question, and a great rabbit trail that I will take us down here for a moment. In the case of a piece like we're working on here, it's not an overstatement to say I've done hundreds of these. So I kind of already have a mental process that I know that I want it to look like, and I can kind of just dive right into it, and I can be distracted and working, and it's not going to throw me off too badly. But there is a formula in my head for how pieces like that come together. Let's grab a piece of paper here. Look at that, it looks exactly the same as the background. And let me get a marker. Oh, Excelsius, it's cool. I think Bob Rouse is awesome. Alright, so this is my paper, correct? Yes. There is a formula of sorts, and it's more of a mentality that I kind of put towards it where I like to think of each piece. I'll put some examples up here. I have all these over here. Each piece as its own individual river, and it's kind of like a... my little brother had a bunch of Hot Wheels cars. This is a stupid example. Had a bunch of Hot Wheels cars as a kid that he could build these big tracks, these like plastic snap together tracks, and they had like a thing that would speed up the cars, and they'd shoot through the track, and you could build the track in any collection of different shapes and sizes, and loop-de-loops or big turns or whatever as you wanted, but it had to keep running through the track. It wasn't like a start and an end, it was like a loop. And that's kind of how I think of like when it comes to approaching the start of a design, is that somewhere in here, this is a terrible example, there is a loop. For it, we're going to go with this one just since it's the one I keep showing. It does start here at the top, comes across, loops once towards the back, and then from there, those wires come out to here, loop again through the frame and back to the back, and back over to the front, and another loop. And what do you know? We're back at the starting position where we can go over the top of the bale and back through. Hot Wheels car analogy aside, I actually tend to think of it as like a river, where your river... That is a hang on. I need a new pen here. Is this gonna... This might stain my background. I promised myself I wasn't going to do this because I have other work I really have to get done for a client, and I'm in a rabbit trail now. Okay, so here is our river. It is delightful. I'm going to draw a tree. This is a perfect tree. You've never seen anyone draw a better tree off camera in your life. Fantastic. It's spectacular. This is the riverbed. We can even have a squirrel. That's a squirrel, believe it or not. And this is where the water is flowing. It is going from this direction down. As it passes through, there may be other obstacles in the riverbed itself, but it's always going to flow from top to bottom of our screen. So there may be a big stone here. There may be two little stones here. And as the current passes through, it may kind of weave through these a little bit, but it's still going to be working this direction. That does connect in that our piece itself has a main track. It has a main flow. It goes from here to here to here to here, back to the beginning. That's where the little Hot Wheels obstacles are. But along that same track, not every wire is following the exact same pattern. So I have a little coil here that's just outside of the big coil here that kind of comes together in a wave of sorts that is kind of spiraling around this one center section. Same thing down here as well, where we have one big spiral, and then we have a little spiral, and then another little spiral, and then another little spiral, and another little spiral that all come together as one unit to build a huge crest here across the bottom that really pulls together every element to come together at once. Those could be thought of as, obstacles within the overall stream or flow of the piece itself. Same thing with the, you know, like accent stones. Maybe these are little accent stones in the river, where it's all. Now oh, cool. So now I'm getting spam. How do I get rid of this spam guy? Hang on. Remove. 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 I don't know how to ban them, but I'm gonna try. Sorry about that. Put user in timeout. That's cute. I'm putting you in timeout. That's right, spam bot. You're in a timeout. Now I lost my train of thought. I have absolutely no idea how to go from this squirrel back to this piece now that I've had the spam bot. Hello from Scotland. I am hoping you're having a fantastic day. It is brisk here in the United States, just outside of Chicago. I made it big. I got spam bots. I love that. All right. Exilus, you asked if you can use a formula to create coils depending on the gauge side, or do I improv? I don't have like a rubric. That's a great question. Absolutely not, Deb. So for coils, no, I don't really have like a rubric that is, here is how to create this length, this size, etc. A lot of it is just like 10 years of muscle memory. Somebody does. I know on Facebook somebody said that they had a rubric for that, and I have absolutely no idea where that is. It was something I was like, oh, that's cool that somebody did that. I won't use that. Okay. Now that I have thoroughly lost track, I hope that that long rabbit trail makes a little bit more sense. And to answer your question directly, no, there isn't an exact formula that I'm applying to this. There isn't an exact plan, but there's a mentality that I've drilled into my brain over the past 10 years that I apply to every single piece, whether it is something like this that has no coils, no weaves, etc., or it's something like this that does use a little bit more detailed wire working in there. Both of them... excuse me. I'm going to lose my voice. I don't talk this much during the day. Both of them have that same sort of river mentality in my head where, you know, it's going to start in one point and I'm going to run those wires all the way through until I reach that same point again. Okay, so with that, I do have 6 more inches, 18 gauge half round. This is a little bit smaller, and I'm going to feed this straight through to the back here. Yeah, filigree is tricky. I know I missed a few things. I do apologize. I have to finish this piece today, so however long it takes, I have to finish it. So I have to concentrate a little bit. I'm not very good at that, but I got to try. I'm sure that there is. I mean, I know that for a fact that there is a formula for measuring stuff for coils, because somebody was talking about it in some Facebook group that I'm in, and everybody was like, here's my email address, send me the formula. So I know it exists, and if that's something you're interested in, I can't help you. I have absolutely no idea who it was, but know that it's out there. I can be that helpful. Sure, something for cabs. I actually have to buy some because I don't really have very many cabs. I'm going to pass this through so I have about equal length with our 16 gauge here and our 18 gauge here. And then I'm going to pass it straight through to the back here as well. So it is tracing along the bottom of my piece, going through my big spiral here. Okay, Zandy, this is going to sound... I'm going to say something, and I'm going to admit before I say it that I break this rule all the time. But if you think about it like this, maybe this will be helpful. Generally speaking, a river is only going to flow one direction, right? So if you make all this piece we're working on is an example here. We have kind of a counterclockwise structure, right? I mean, maybe you could look at it the other way. To me, it looks the most sense counterclockwise, where every spiral is kind of building out this direction. We don't have anything that's going back the opposite direction. Everything is going the main direction of our flow. That isn't always going to be the case. I do make pieces that go the other way, kind of fold back in on themselves and whatnot. And I will not say that the one direction approach is the best approach. Some artists don't do that at all, and I think that their work is absolutely phenomenal. It is easier for me to keep it organized if I do have all of those flowing in one direction. Yeah, okay, that's what I got. So I passed this through here. Sorry, I gotta concentrate a second here. Hallelujah, that is my life goal here on YouTube and on Patreon. If I can save you some years of struggle and problem solving, my work here is done, and I can rest happily. I'm gonna need another wire because the back of my stone is being held in with my finger at this point, so I'm gonna cut something else here really quick. I cut this wire in advance and then I lost it. What was my very first piece? Quiet Spaced asks. We're really going on a rabbit trail. Hang on. So this is the first piece of wire-wrapped jewelry I ever made in sterling silver. It is a indicolite tourmaline, moldavite, and a tumbled amethyst. And I've kept it because it's fun to see how far I've come from this. And this is not a very good piece of jewelry. But this is it. That's the one. I made maybe a dozen craft wire pieces before this, and then I bought silver, and this was the first thing I made with that silver. So there it is. Now you know. For our next wire, I do have 22 gauge round wire. This is in half hard, and this is 6 inches of it. So that's what we're gonna go with. I'm glad that I kept it too. It's fun to look back on. It really is something that I'm glad that I did. I didn't do it on purpose at the time. Like, I did try to sell it for a while, and it's bad. So nobody bought it. But I'm glad that they didn't, because now I have it. So I have passed my wire through the same section here. So we have all 3 of these up in this top left corner. This stone being loose has got to go first. All right, scratch that idea. I've got 6 more inches of 18 gauge half round, and that is it's gonna have to go first, because this will drive me absolutely bananas if I don't fix it, because it just keeps wanting to move, and I want it to be still. Delightful. See, you look so much better when you stay still. It is a very good feeling to know that something that you've made is well loved and close to home. This is where things are going to get a little bit suspicious, because we didn't necessarily make this frame for this stone. It doesn't quite fit perfectly. So this might be a failed experiment for this part, but we're going to try it. I'm going to take this 18 gauge. This is 6 inches, dead soft, 18 gauge half round. At this point, everything is half round. As I add wires, I hopefully I've continued to say it out loud, but yeah, everything is half round in this case. I didn't use any square yet. I don't think I will. At least not for this one. I may use some round, though. I have this little short piece of round that I was going to attach, and then I decided to wait on it until we get this one in place. So I need... Yeah, that'll work. Will this... Yep, okay. The issue that I'm running into with the stone itself is that it wants to slip through this back setting that we had built for a different stone and then got rid of that stone. So we are going to go ahead and bring a strap across the back between the two 18 gauges that are kind of making up what was our original setting. And it's off to the side of the stone so that it's not passing directly in the middle. And theoretically, if I do it correctly, you won't actually even see it from the front at all. We're going to go ahead and bring this around our 18 gauge at the top. This is all sterling silver. So every video that I've ever posted on here, if you are curious what the metal is, it's sterling silver unless I specified that it was like argentium silver or something, which I don't think I ever used on the channel, but if I've never specified, it's sterling silver. Yeah, there's some pretty cool, vape coils. I learned a few of them because I thought that they looked pretty cool too. I will freely admit to you, I hate making coils. I don't find that very fun. So I learned them, made them once, and was like, cool, I know how to do that. I'm never doing it again. And I didn't. All right, so now our 18 gauge that is kind of holding our stone setting, or stone from falling out the back of the setting, is nicely neat, or at least nicely held into place. I have these 3 wires, our long 18 gauge. Hey, quiet space. You are welcome to ask questions at any time. That is very encouraged. If you got a question, please shout it out. I've made these a bajillion times, so I'm very, very down to be interrupted and chat about whatever it is that's burning in your head there. So I've got this 18 gauge, this is our 16 gauge, and then this is our 18 gauge ending here. How do I want to do this? I'm going to start with our long one. Then I'm going to take our 16 gauge. So far these wires are going around the base of the 16 gauge, excuse me. So this is 18, 18, 16. Then we're going to take the 16 around. It's a great question. So how do I price things? Depends on the piece, really. If you're looking for a good formula to start with, I would say your cost of materials multiplied by 3 plus whatever you want to pay yourself hourly is, for whatever medium, that is what every artist should at least start with. I think that is drastically, underselling if you're not very good at paying yourself hourly, but that is what I would recommend as a starting point. Pay yourself an hourly wage and multiply whatever the total cost of your materials are by 3 at a minimum, or Or you could do like a flat rate thing, like, you know, how much approximately, how much silver approximately each piece that you make is. So you just kind of flat rate it out instead of, you know, weighing out each individual piece. But however you choose to do that's up to you. I would say that if you are doing anything less than that, you're doing yourself a disservice. We all have to eat, right? Alright, I'm going to bring both of these around the base one more time here, and I'm probably going to regret it. I don't regret it. I regret nothing. I regret something. I regret how much space I have over here. Why is this so long? I gotta cut this short. Waste. I'm going to take all 3 of these wires and I'm going to bring them through the bale so that this whole woven, or this whole coiled structure here, pricing is it's tricky. It's tricky because it's very easy to say on paper, I deserve X amount of money for something, and that's what I'm going to ask for it. And then being able to find the person who's like, yep, that is worth that amount of money and I'm going to buy it, may take some time. You know, it may not be like an immediate sale for everything. And sometimes it gets a little discouraging or frustrating, and you start to think, well, maybe I deserve less because it's not selling. Things like that happen, and it is the plight of an artist. Or you might not have that problem, and if you don't, I am so thrilled for you. Sell everything. Which is a great segue for some shameless self-promotion. If you're enjoying this video, or if you enjoy any videos on my channel and you'd like to see more like this, preferably ones where I don't talk creepily into the microphone, there are more of them available on patreon.com/raftark with over 100 hours of recorded class sessions like this, and start to finish tutorials as well. If you'd like to check that out, the link is also in the description of this video. Check it out. It is tricky, you know, to price things in a way that is fair to you and to, you know, your consumer, you know, or your client. You do want everybody to walk away happy, and most importantly, you to walk away fed. I'm glad you're here too. Thanks for spending some time. All jokes aside, I really do. I mean, I do these sessions every Monday on Patreon, and it is like my favorite way to start the week. Just being able to chat wire wrapping with folks who are also super passionate and interested in the art form is super cool, and it really sets me up to having a excellent week. So it is something I really enjoy doing. If you want to enjoy more of them, I do have that as well. I'm going to start to try to do some more on here. I don't have like a rubric in my head for what day or how much, but there will always be sessions on Mondays for Patreon. There's a few of you here this morning, and maybe they can speak to it better than I can. But I feel very confident that the program that I've put together on Patreon and the stuff that we've learned or that we've done together on there is worth far more than the monetary cost that is associated with it. That is just a function of I have to eat, you know, at some point. So you know, that is part of it. But I do work pretty hard to make sure that that is something that is worth far more than it costs. So if you are interested in that, do let me know. Well, hang on. How many people do I have here? All right, so there's several of you here. Well, I'm talking about that subject. I do have an offer going for anyone who wants to sign up and wants to do so on an annual basis. I'm offering a tremendous sign-on bonus for it. So if you are curious about it, let me know. Otherwise, I won't waste our time with a commercial. We'll keep working on the piece we got going on here. Thanks, Quiet Space. I appreciate that. I really do. That means a lot to me. I try not to be. All jokes aside, I really. It is something. It is the artistic achievement I'm the most proud of. You know, being able to pass on what I know, and to be able to do it with a community who is also super passionate about learning. It's really cool. It is a sort of Exilus. So I'll give you the spiel. There's a couple different tiers that are available on Patreon. If you guys watch a lot of YouTube, you know the Patreon spiel. It's basically a way where you can contribute, and I get to eat, and you get to learn things. There are different tiers for it. Right now, the deal that I am offering for my gold tier, that's the highest one, that has, on a monthly basis, any YouTube videos that I make, your name goes in the credit. On a weekly basis, you get access to those live stream classes on Mondays, as well as on a monthly basis, an edited start-to-finish tutorial. For example, this piece was one of the tutorials from our Patreon gold tier sessions. So it was edited. It's not like this where it's me rambling. It's very much start to finish. I think it was probably like an hour and a half long video. And there are some available on my website as well that are available for sale individually. Patreon is a better deal if you're looking for a deal, because you get both the video and the live streams, and you get your name or your business name in the credits, which is cool. The big bonus that I am offering for anyone who wants to sign up on an annual basis, usually Patreon is like a monthly basis. You can decide whether or not you want to stay. You can go for as long as you want. If you want to join on an annual basis, in addition to the 12 videos over the course of the year, the 50 plus hours of class sessions, and your name in the credits, I'm also offering my whole back catalog of tutorials. So that's over the course of 2023, it would be 36 start to finish tutorials, 36 tutorials, similar pieces of this sort of caliber. And then the 12 throughout the year, so 48 altogether, as well as the classes, and those classes are recorded as well. So there's already over 100 hours of recorded content on there. That if you're enjoying this and you want more when I'm done, and you want to listen to recordings, that is all on there as well. I promise I won't continue to harp on the salesmanship side of things. I really am proud of it. I think that it is worth far more than the monetary expense. And I would think that, and I hope that any of my patrons, if you guys are here, you would be willing to back that up. I hope it's worth more to you. I'm very confident that it is, and that's why I'm willing to give out so much. Okay, hang on. I missed a couple things. Thank you, Deb. I think you're a lovely person as well. So, Alleluia, you're interested, you want to ask if there's a way to get a super deal since you're broke. I'm broke too, I get it, we're all broke. The best deal is probably the most immediately expensive on an annual basis. The highest tier on Patreon is $25 per month, and that would be what the annual charge would be, but you also do get 10% off of any tier for joining annually. So it would be like $270 for the year, plus 36 tutorials instantly, plus 100 plus hours of recorded classes. It's a lot. So I won't keep going on it. Thank you for letting me ramble. I appreciate it. Thank you for providing me that opportunity. It's not super expensive to live in the United States, but it's not super free either. Minotaur Studios, that is an option. And there's also there's the option to not sign up annually as well. If you just want to check it out for a month and then come back later and say, hey, I want that deal, just let me know. That's super cool. Like, there's not like pressure or anything. If you join and you hate it and you want to leave, like I still think you're super cool. I don't know. It's not super high pressure or anything. So I've been fiddling with this for like 10 minutes as I rambled. Thank you guys for for bearing with me during commercial hour there. I'm going to go ahead and secure these to our frame. So I'm starting with my 16 gauge. I've passed it through my bail wires. We're going to go ahead and pinch that flat and to secure it into place. And then we're going to secure these two wires. These are two 18 gauges directly to our frame here. As I do that, I do want to say that generally speaking, the live stream classes that we have on Patreon are less chaotic than these are. Like these YouTube ones are pretty chaotic. So if you're like watching this and you're like, dude, this is just not for me, why would you do more of these? I promise they're not quite as all over the place. Yikes. I do live just outside of Chicago, so it's not like the cheapest place in the United States anyway, but my wife's family's all here. I grew up here. Don't really feel any reason to depart the Chicago area yet. It's nice. I enjoy it. So we got all those wire endings pinched into place, and we can kind of begin to see how this is going to look as we get it finished up here. No, if you so to answer your question, hallelujah. So there is an offer on there as well for anyone who wants to join on a monthly basis. After 3 months of being a gold tier member, you do get access to 12 previous tutorials. So you get 12 of the previous. I think it's 12. If it's not 12, it is now. Just mention this video. After 3 months. If you join on an annual basis, you get all of those immediately. You get 36 immediately. So you get more and you get it instantly as a way to kind of offset the one-time cost up front. All right, so we got that. I like that. It looks cool. We're going to go ahead and bring our 18 gauge here through our bail as well. So this is going to follow where our 16 gauge is currently sitting. You know, and this is, she's going to love this. I had never really heard of Patreon either before. It was actually my wife's idea to start a YouTube channel. And I told her, oh, I guess I could start it. I don't think anybody's going to watch it. 60,000 and change of you have now subscribed and watched. So that's super cool. Thank you. And then, you know, as that ball kind of got rolling, she's like, start a Patreon. I was like, I don't think people are going to want to pay for that. And here we are. It is now a huge blessing for me and my family. So thank you all for even just being here and hanging out, it means a lot to me. It really does. It's cool to have the opportunity to do this. I have more gemstones than I know what to do with. And unfortunately, in the case of Patreon, technically you're paying them and then they pay me later. So I don't have the freedom to make deals like that. But thank you for asking. Cool. All right, so I passed both the 18 and our 16 gauge here, threw around to the outside, and tucked it in towards our frame. At this point, these wires are kind of protected on their opposite end here, so they won't actually catch on the chain or anything. We're pretty close. You did, you're right. Always thanks to my wife. She's awesome, and she has great ideas. I wouldn't be here without her. At this point, we're pretty close. Our stone is more or less secured here at the bottom. Thanks for noticing, Robin. Yeah, you can kind of tell in the background I'm in a somewhat of a construction zone. I'm building my studio here, and I took a power driver to my thumb, so it'll be here forever, for months. There is a little bit of leeway for, we do need to add, we do need to add at least something right up here at the top to secure this stone into place. It's not totally pinched in. I don't know what I'm going to add yet, but I need something. But yeah, you can kind of begin to see that wave form that I'm talking about, where if I was to bring back my very artistic tree, if you saw this, if this was the thumbnail, you would be like, that is stupid, I'm not watching that, I'm changing the thumbnail to this. It kind of looks, I mean, to me, it's kind of a, you know, waves building here and explodes over the top when it hits a stone, you know. Or if we think back to The Little Mermaid, when she's singing on the rock and it just behind her, that's what I like to think that this piece looks somewhat like. It yes, Joe Madre, it is a tourmaline. Hey, I'll pass it along. Maybe Sophie wants to get into business consulting. She is very good at it. My tree looks like a goat? Oh, you know what? I see. My river looks kind of like a goat. Like this section here. It kind of does. You're right. I did that on purpose. All right, let me get this last wire in here because I think we probably only need one to really secure our stone into place, and I can feel happy about it, and I can be free to go back to work. I gotta go back to work. I got client deadline to meet, and I got a piece to finish. Looks like maybe this might be my wire. Let me see before I say it out loud. No, I want this. You can't unsee it. Oh, quiet space. I apologize. No. Yes. I think that she did. I think she didn't like it. She has made some jewelry, and we've made some jewelry together. But it's not really her passion, you know. So here we go. I have 6 inches. This is 22 gauge round. This is our first round wire. Everything else has been half round up till this point. So here we go. This is in half hard. It's a little bit springier. This is our first half hard wire as well. I'm going to start. What the heck? We're going to do it in the middle. I'm going to start in the middle. I'm going to create a spiral. I find it easiest to do this with my fingers. There we go. Look at that, nice and neat. Doing it with my fingers does eliminate like a pinch. Like even really nice round nose pliers will like add like a pinch in the wire that kind of kinks it, and I don't really like that, so I usually tend to just try to avoid doing it and just do it with my fingers whenever possible. I'm going to feed one ending of that through the center of our biggest spiral here. Come on, buddy. Come on, man. Don't do this. Not in front of my friends. Why are you gonna be like that? Thank you. My dude, chill. Alright, there we go. Why are you like this? I won't tell either. I guess technically I am working right now. Google just picks up the tab with the advertising costs. But I have like other work I gotta do. That's what I mean. There we go. Okay. This feeling is inevitable. Part of the wire wrapping experience. Right now you know it's honest. Perfect. Oh, that's a good idea. Sometimes when I'm thinking, my brain or my mouth just stops moving and I just go into a quiet stupor. Sorry about that. So this is what I was thinking about. I'm going to go ahead and bring this wire ending through the bottom 18 gauge here. And I need my pliers. There we go. Yes. Beautiful. I carefully pull this tight so that it'll sit in its assigned seat. Delightful. You'll love to see it. All right. Now that that has been pulled snug into its assigned seat, do I need this for anything else? Oh yeah, you know what? I do want this for something else. Yeah, okay. Instead of cutting this short and securing it to our frame here, I'm going to bring it out off the opposite side. Yeah, it's got to be next week, right? Next week? Next Wednesday, I said. Yes. For those of you on Facebook, I will be live on Facebook next week. Plug the link for them. I'm going to go ahead and bring this off from the right side edge around and through to the back of our piece. I changed my mind. I hate that. I'm not going to do that. That was a lie. I'm going to secure that to the back of my piece here. Cut it short Who did you think you were? I did not need you there. That's not why I added you. Because I have your other side, the super long one. Okay, here we go. That one's going to come off the outside edge. Delightful. You'll love to see it. I will do some more here on YouTube. I was just I used to do live streams on Facebook every week, like twice a week, from 2020 through till like 2021, and then stuff got in the way. You know, time suddenly had meaning again, and I had to get other projects done to meet deadlines, and eventually it just kind of became a thing that I wasn't able to keep up with on a bi-weekly or weekly basis. So I stopped doing them, but I was invited to host one in a Facebook group, and I'm going to do that then. But I will do more here on YouTube as well. If you guys are enjoying this, if you want to see more of these, you know what I'm about to say. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and whatever else people say on YouTube for to be the first to be notified when things are coming. I will do another like little post with the announcement or whatever, but you know, it'll be here. All right, so here we go. I have passed this around the outside edge whilst I was kind of distractedly talking, and I have brought it through here. It is an adventure. It's super fun. That's one of the things I really love about wire wrapping, is that it's not super predictable. This is not where we were going when I first started this piece, but I love where we ended up. So very excited about it. Bringing this around the outside edge. I'm going to trim it short so that we can go ahead and get this secured into place. And we'll call it a day. I don't know that I have no plans to stop wire wrapping. I don't do it as much in my free time anymore, but there's no plans to stop. Ouch. Okay. And there we go. That's it. I think I like it. There is this on the back that I don't love, and I'm going to point it out because it bothers me. But I'm also going to let it slide because you can't see it from the front, and because this isn't the stone that I made the piece for last week. I just made it up as we were going today. And I actually was planning on doing the amylite, and then nobody was into it, and you all said the tourmaline, so it's your fault, all right? You are to blame here. But there we go. That is more or less the start to finish process that I use for creating pieces like this. If you really enjoyed this video, please do feel free to check out more of these on Patreon, or hey, no pressure there. Shoot me a little thumbs up on this video. Subscribe if you're not already. Do all of the YouTube things. Those it seems like it's kind of nothing, but it actually really is helpful for me and for YouTube to know that the things I'm making you like to see and that they want to show to other people. So if you are not interested in Patreon, that is a free way with absolutely no, no obligation to just be able to help support the channel. Just giving the little thumbs up, give a little ding on the subscribe button, all of that fun stuff. It feels like comical to me to be saying those things because I hear it from other YouTubers all the time, and now here I am repeating the same things. Okay, hang on real quick. Let me read the comments, and then we'll probably start wrapping up. We've been here for about an hour and 20 minutes, so I do need to get out of here, but I've done all those things, and right now I'm crunching numbers, see if I can take a hit for your Patreon deal. Disability pays very little, but this is totally worth it. I don't want to encourage you to be in a position that you can't afford at all. The deal will be around. If it doesn't work right now, let me know later. It's a standing offer. If you're watching this video, it could be standing for you as well. Just let me know. I will definitely do more of these here. I'll keep you up to date on when that will be. It will be later. It won't be next week, because next week I'm doing the one over on Facebook. But I will do more of these. This is pretty fun. I will try to have a tutorial video edited and posted up on the channel this week. I'm going to lose my voice. Okay, there we go. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Exilus. That is a cool name. And thank you, Austin. Cheers. Okay, so there we go. That is it. I will call it here. Once again, thank you for taking the time out of your day. Whether you are watching this live now, whether you are catching the stream later on, whatever the case may be, the fact that you decided to stick around, see what I make, hopefully chat with me here a little bit, it means a lot to me. It really does. This is something that I love to do, and it's really, really cool to have the platform or have the ability to do that with you. So thank you for being a part of that in whatever capacity you are. It is very special to me, and I very much look forward to doing more of these soon. But for now, we'll call it here. We'll pick it back up with a new piece later on down the road. I will solidify a schedule for 2023 so that we kind of can anticipate when these streams will be, and it won't just be random me posting the day before or whatever. Oh, excuse me. All right, I'm done. I gotta go back to... Actually, I probably should make some tea, and then I gotta go back to work. Thank you all. Please be safe. I will see you next time.